Hey, 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 happy Thursday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, shockingly enough, Roll for Combat and their Battlezoo Ancestries Living Legends Kickstarter, as well as the GamingGang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard, everyone. Tonight is Thursday, April 10th, 2025. This is live stream number 1177. If you're not overly familiar with the show, let me point out, super casual around here. Just hang out talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news. And then I will normally take a first look at a game. Maybe I'll unbox a board game, or much more likely for me to be paging through a role-playing game release, which we're actually going to be doing that with 3 items tonight. And then every once in a while, I'll actually pontificate about a topic related to our hobby. But still, we're not engaged in anything along the lines of rocket surgery by any stretch of the imagination. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit GamingGang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are not going to find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. And then, of course, because this is a live show, there is chat available. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. And you must be a subscriber to the channel for at least 10 whole minutes before you can take part in chat. Yet another way I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But if you happen to meet that criteria and you want to say howdy, maybe you got a question, a comment, by all means, chime in. I will do my very best to respond. First out the gate tonight is our good friend of the show and chat moderator, the Madman. Sean O'Donnell is also with us, as is Semper Buffo, James Eck, the Badger has returned once again. Mike is with us, as is Wallona's Cave, Lenny Blade, Robert Santon, and Pete's Draculich. So chat is off and rocking and rolling already. Sweet. Very nice. Wallona's Cave says, rocket surgery is no joke. Do I cut the red or blue wire? Amateur, it's the green wire, of course. So welcome to you all. Let's talk about our sponsor currently. In fact, this is the final show where we'll be sponsored by the Battlezoo Ancestries Living Legends Kickstarter from our friends over at Roll for Combat. And the reason why I say it's the last one is because it ends tomorrow. In fact, it might end in the wee early hours of the AM. So this actually might be your final day to jump on board and score yourself 14 new playable races for 5th edition and, obviously enough, 5.5 edition Dungeons & Dragons, as well as Pathfinder 2nd edition. And we've got some new species such as gargoyles and lamia and swarm blood. Of course, there is the funny video that Roll for Combat has put together. I have been sharing it with you. You seem to love it. So let's give it a peek one last time.
No. There's nothing else to roleplay as in my tabletop games. I've been everything imaginable. A dwarf, a halfling, an elf, a sexy elf,
Hey, Jack.
What?
Jack.
What is it, Vampire Cop?
I know you're looking to put weird little monsters into your game. Well, look no further. Battles of Ancestries Leaving Legends has 14 unique ancestries for your Pathfinder 2E or D&D 5th edition games.
Radical!
Like Swarmblood, a creature made of hundreds of other little creatures. Gargoyles, where you can disguise as an ordinary statue, but also become a warrior of the night.
Look at them all. Angels, devils, sphinxes, evil eyes. I love them and I will die for them.
And if you really want to go full sicko mode, you can be a fusion and play as an ancestry that combines multiple characters in one, like a chimera, two-headed giant, or even a hydra. You could either share this character with other players or control it all by yourself.
I could have the power of both a low-level internet personality
and a low-budget, sexy horror action movie? Visit Kickstarter.rollforcombat.com
to get Battle Zoo Ancestries Living Legends, which includes in-depth information about each creature's culture, society, and history. You also get hundreds of digital tokens and illustrations that work with any VTT. Go get your hands on all these little freaks today.
Hey, can I join you? Sure, we can be a chimera now.
No!
You can reserve a copy of the flavor of your choice, once again, D&D or Pathfinder, for the hardcover book with PDF, as well as some virtual tabletop assets for Foundry for a $99 pledge. If you want to just grab the hardcover with PDF, you can do so for a $69 pledge. Or if you want to just get the PDF alone, you can do so for a $35 pledge through April 11th. The PDFs are expected to arrive in July. I don't think the Foundry stuff is going to hit in July. I think that is probably going to arrive same point in time as most likely the hardcover, which is going to be in September. And of course, this Kickstarter funded within moments of its launch. So it is well beyond its funding goal by a country mile, pretty much. And as I have been mentioning all along, if you are not overly familiar with Roll for Combat, their books, production quality is chef's kiss. I mean, it is fantabulous. No joke. No joke. All righty. So as far as what we're doing tonight, we're going to be taking a look at a trio of Tales of Argosa adventures. It's little soft covers here, about 26 pages in length. I have 3 of these. And I guess I should say I think they're called like adventure frameworks, because they're not like scripted linear adventures. So we will get a closer look at all 3 of them in just a bit. If you are tuning in for those first looks, do want to mention it's probably going to be about 40 minutes before we get to that, because we always tackle the tabletop gaming news first. And I do see that the lovely and talented Miss Sarah D, another of our chat moderators who tends to lurk in the shadows, is with us, chiming in, saying howdy. And Kathy Evans is also hanging with the gang tonight. So once again, like I said, pretty rocking chat so far. All right. So, and DB has just popped on in as I segue on into tonight's news, because now arriving in stores is the 5e Vault Hammer and Anvil from Cubicle 7 Games. I've got the lowdown. Forged unique weapons and armor unlike anything the world has ever seen. From the award-winning team that brought you Broken Weave, A Life Well Lived, and Uncharted Journeys. Give your characters the equipment they deserve with his brand new 5th edition supplement that lets you design and build bespoke adventuring gear. Hammer and Anvil introduces new rules for crafting new weapons, armor, shields, and mechanical contraptions. God, English, Jeff. English, use it. There are rules for creating powerful magic items for those with minds meant for magic, not machinery. Hammer and Anvil is the 5e supplement, which will give your characters the adventuring gear they deserve. But what if they don't deserve anything? That's what I'm wondering. You guys suck. You don't deserve a damn thing. With this book, you'll put all your ingenuity to the test and be rewarded for your creative designs. You can use the mundane and magical materials of your world to complete your vision of your character. Your great work may start as a humble longsword, but with the right equipment and materials, you'll be able to craft a legendary blade capable of cleaving reality in two and summoning an ethereal being to serve by your side. Forge custom weapons and become a legendary weaponsmith with Cubicle 7's new weapon forging system. Craft new armor for you and your party with the armor forging rules. Your tailoring and modifications will ensure a perfect fit for you and your allies. Turn mundane gear into artifacts of legend with the magic item enchanting rules. Use your arcane talents to enhance the weapons and armor you craft, or team up with a powerful spellcaster to create potent magical effects. Forge your weapon to slay the monster plaguing your hometown, or brew a powerful elixir to save the life of someone you love. Design and experiment using magic and ingenuity to create something truly unique. Hammer and Anvil, as well as Mortar and Pistol, give you the freedom to create anything you can imagine and bring it into your 5e games. The 144-page hardcover with PDF, if you happen to order from Cubicle 7 Games, carries an MSRP of $44.99. If you want to grab just the PDF alone, you can do so right now over at DriveThruRPG for $24.99. Wilderness Cave said, Mortar and Pistol was nice, still waiting to get this one. They don't play 5e, so they plan on using it for other systems as well as for some inspiration. I see Toothless is with us. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us tonight. Moving right along, following a successful backer kit run, High School Cthulhu is available for pre-order, and I've got the lowdown from Gear Games. You're a student. It's the 90s. You live in Innsmouth, and something dark and terrifying is about to take your life by storm. As if adolescence wasn't bad enough, now you'll have to deal with the supernatural of cosmic horror on a stage lit by the bright, fluorescent colors of the 90s. What a mix! High School Cthulhu draws its inspiration from the teen drama series of the 90s, from Beverly Hills 90210 and Dawson's Creek to the action and horror classics of the genre like Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Roswell. Was Roswell in the 90s? I don't know. I didn't watch it. For some strange reason, I thought Roswell was 21st century. I could be completely wrong. So, in the High School Cthulhu Handbook, you'll find everything you need to play, from how to create your student, to information about our beloved 1990s Innsmouth, its people, and attractions. High School Cthulhu is powered by a highly cinematic game engine called Director's Cut. The system uses small pools of 6-sided dice to determine the outcome of anything that involves a risk of danger or any risk whatsoever. When rolling dice, you're not looking to roll high or low, but to group as many matching symbols together. I do believe this is the same system that Two Little Mice utilizes for Household and Outgunned. You can pre-order the 260-page hardcover for 45 euros. I have not found any North American retailer who is selling the book, so I did not get any sort of USD MSRP. So I do have the 45 euros. Or if you want to grab just the PDF alone, you can do so right now over at DriveThruRPG for $15. It's a pretty smoking deal on that PDF. Yeah, you would think it'd be 25, considering it's 45 euros. Maybe 22.50, something like that. So yeah, not too shabby. Looks kind of interesting too. Reading Aid is with us in chat, and so Shout Out says 1999 was when Roswell came out. All right, well, it's still the 90s, I guess. Like I said, I never watched. I was not a CW viewer. I was a little too old for that. So, although weirdly enough, I did work with some people who were like in their late 20s and early 30s who watched Dawson's Creek religiously. And I was like, oh, okay. Mike says as long as it can run a Napoleon Dynamite character, I guess they'll be happy. Very nice. Very nice. Moving right along, the role-playing game Between Clouds, which was a topic of discussion last night for a special Kickstarter edition running for just under $10,000 on DriveThruRPG, and it actually still showing up as at wrong pricing. Well, Between Clouds is actually the focus of a quick deal over at Bundle of Holding. And I've got the deets on that deal. Adventure. This all-new Between Clouds quick deal presents, well, you guessed it, Between Clouds, the Year Zero biopunk tabletop role-playing game about a found family of misfits navigating the open skies atop their beloved flying beast. High above the devastated planet of Imperia, floating cities called cradles hunt the legendary gravity-defying Kieran, enormous creatures whose beating hearts can hold the cities aloft. For protection, the Kieran bond with rare outcast humans and grant them strange mutant powers. Traveling the nine skies, your family helps those in need and protects wild Kieran from threats, both human and robotic. Between Clouds adapts the Year Zero rules for colorful adventures in a verdant new world. You can pay just $5.95. That is a whole lot less than $9,999.99 to get all three complete titles in the Between Clouds special. Actually has a retail value of $21 as DRM-free PDFs, including the full-color 209-page Between Clouds core rulebook, along with the campaign framework, Cat's Paw Couriers, and a behind-the-scenes chronicle, The Making of Between Clouds. This is a quick deal, so you don't have a lot of time to take advantage. These savings will run through April 15th. I got to say, this sounds pretty unique. Sounds fairly unique. And it does utilize the Year Zero engine. That's kind of cool. Kind of cool. Reality is, we always call it the, well, not necessarily mutant Year Zero engine, but yeah, see what's saying. But yeah, this does have kind of a unique feel to it. I would say if you are a big fan of anime, it's probably something to take a peek at. Like if you're a fan of, like, say, oh, I don't know, Princess Mononoke. Not that this is like that. I'm just saying it's probably an anime that would fit nicely in with this. All right. Next news piece. Arriving in May from Goodman Games is a Dungeon Crawl Classics Grave Robbers of Thracia. And here's what I know. Legend speaks of a Thracian legion who vanished in the aftermath of the kingdom's fall. For centuries, tales of corpse-eating fiends clad in ancient armor have been whispered in dark taverns, along with stories of a lost treasure hidden within a hidden tomb. How many times they want to use hidden in that sentence? Now, as villagers are disappearing and the graveyard is empty, it is time to confront an ancient evil linking two fallen kingdoms. Grave Robbers of Thracia is a Dungeon Crawl Classics funnel adventure intended for 4 to 6 players, running a total of 16 to 24 zero-level characters. First-time judges should not be intimidated by the number of player characters to start the adventure, as that number will markedly decline as events progress. While this adventure is set on the Isle of Thracia, no outside knowledge of the setting is required to run this adventure. The 24-page softcover is slated to arrive May 21st, along with a whole lot of other Thracia content. It will carry an MSRP of $9.99. If things operate as usual for Goodman Games, that should mean that the physical softcover and PDF will be available for $11.99. And if you want to just grab the PDF alone over at Drive-Thru RPG, which I'll take a guess, we will see that before May 21st, it'll probably be around $6.99. I do have to say, I'm very happy to see Goodman Games releasing quite a bit of content surrounding the Caverns of Thracia, which we talked about yesterday. Even though Amazon is telling us it's a slipcase set, it is not a slipcase set. It is a single hardcover, depending on if you want to get it for 5e or Dungeon Crawl Classics. But we've got this adventure. I think there's another adventure. I think there's even some adventures for the 5e version, which are different than these. Pretty cool. I'm like, pretty cool. And Caverns of Thracia, I believe, is for levels 1 to 4. So having a 0-level funnel to get everybody set up, I like that. I like that a lot. All right, let's wrap up our news tonight, because currently up on Kickstarter for the Soloist and Beyond Cataclysm is Solo Borg, or maybe I should call it Soloborg. Yes, it's built upon Mi'kmaq. Regardless, here's the skinny. Solo Borg is a standalone 100-plus page game and toolkit, which allows you to play Mort Borg completely on your own. Compatible with the base game and third-party content, it lets you fight for survival in a doomed dark fantasy world without other players or even without a game master, while embracing a satisfying minimalist approach that keeps narrative and nastiness at the forefront. In a solo role-playing game, you're both the player and GM. Instead of a game master guiding the action, you use structured prompts, random tables, and oracles to set the scene, create challenges, answer questions, inspire story ideas, and push the tale forward. But at its core, Solo Borg is still a role-playing game. You create a character, explore a world, make choices, roll dice, and face the consequences. Solo Borg is built on a few core principles. It's a complete game. It's standalone, based on Mort Borg. Most systems and tables can be hacked and used with other role-playing games with this toolkit. It's got quick play, so sessions can fit in about 30 minutes with minimal bookkeeping, because less paperwork means more play. There's cohesive campaigns, because adventures are stories, not just random events. And it is true to Mort Borg. It's designed to create grim fantasy adventures as well as surprising results, because there are systems for obstacles and unexpected twists. And this is 100% human-made, with contributions from experienced Borg artists. This Kickstarter funded within minutes of its launch. You can reserve a copy of the hardcover with PDF for a $44 pledge. If you want to grab just the PDF, you can do so for a $22 pledge through April 24th. I will point out there are a few different pledge levels outside of what I just shared. So there is a bit more involved with this Kickstarter. Is it Kickstarter or is it backer kit? Hang on. Oh yeah, it is Kickstarter. Okay. Just double checking, because sometimes one minute I'm looking at Kickstarter and then I'm looking at backer kit and I forget to change things. And no, this is a Kickstarter. The reason why I know that is because the expected delivery is April of next year, which if it was backer kit, I would be hard pressed to find when the fulfillment is. W Forges popped on into chat, said that book's actually thicker than the original Mirkberg itself. John O'Donnell says, stop hiding your tombs, guys. Even ancient evils get lonely, and that's half the problem. There you go. That's why the evil festers like it does. Everybody likes alone time, but not constant alone time. All right. That is the news for tonight. Of course, I did mention Drive-Thru RPG. Don't forget, Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you're going to go visit Drive-Thru RPG, Storytellers Vault, Dungeon Masters Guild, Wargame Vault, any of those One Bookshelf sites, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a small portion of that sale. And all those nickels, dimes, and quotas really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around. Also, if you like the video, if you dig the channel, if you find the Gaming Gang to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, please consider supporting us on our Patreon. Yes. We have cracked, I think it's 20 members, thereabouts. We do have 4 membership tiers, and some of those tiers will give you access to the, I don't want to say secret channels because they're not really secret. Secret squirrel. Hey, secret. I'm Morocco Mole. Yeah, my Morocco Mole's not as good as it used to be. My secret. Nah, it's probably my secret squirrel. Nah, it's not very good either. The Morocco was actually better. But there are 4 different membership tiers over at Patreon. And want to give shout outs to our, what is it? Sharp. Yeah, it's our Sharper. Yeah, we've got the tiers have names. Our Sharper tier and higher, which includes the Madman, Matt W., Tessie Trekkie, Dan Webb, and Tier 2 DM. So big shout out to them. Thank you very much. And of course, I just mentioned our Discord server. It is open to everybody. So if you want to pop on in and join us, you certainly can. There's a link in the show notes. You can follow that, find out from there. All righty then. So tonight we are going to dive on in. We're going to take a look at a trio of Tales of Argosa adventures or adventure frameworks in just a few moments. But first, let me wet my whistle here. A couple of things I wanted to mention. First of all, if you ever notice that sometimes I kind of burp, I try to hide it. Sometimes when I'm talking, usually it's when I'm reading the news. I don't know why. It's because I take this medication for my thyroid. And in order for the medication to actually work, it has to increase the amount of stomach acid I have. So I never had any sort of acid reflux before. I do now. Thankfully, I don't get it a ton, and it's usually at night when I'm laying down. But still, I'm hoping when I go see the specialist in September, because that's the earliest they could get me in. that maybe they can figure something else out, because it is, and it's really weird too, because it'll also hit me right before I'm going to eat. It's super bizarre. It's like I'll sit down. Okay, here's dinner. All right, excellent. All of a sudden, it's like what the hell? It's like I haven't eaten anything yet. What are you doing? So Shardell says, "Oof, yes, yeah." Like I said, luckily it's not terrible. So, but that is why sometimes I'll be talking and I'll be, I try to hide the kind of belch almost. That's what it is. So I know I didn't necessarily need to let you in on that. Sean O'Donnell's talking about some different medications work great. The thing is, the medication for the thyroid has to do that. So I can't take anything that will like get rid of the acid reflux. I guess I have to have it. So it's like, yeah, great. Madman says Prilosec's been their friend for years. Yes. So, I mean, I don't get it terribly, but see, I almost had to belch a little bit there too. So Showdown goes, wow, that's a pain. Yeah, I just got to put up with it until September. Fingers crossed. And yes, of course, you may recall that I do have the stress test with additional nonsense next week. I got to be honest, I think I'm going to take next week off. Off the Shelf Board Game Reviews is with us, asking, ever notice how the cure hurts worse than the disease at times? I talk about that around my house all the time, especially you have the news on. If you watch like national news, which my father does, I tend to get my news from a lot of different sources, because I think it's ridiculous that national news has to spend the last 5 to 7 minutes on feel-good stories that are absolutely not newsworthy whatsoever. And then people sit there and complain about why Americans are completely ignorant about the rest of the world and our own country too. Anyway, you'll see it's like restless leg syndrome, possible side effects, death. And I understand if one person has that side effect, they have to list it as a side effect. I understand that. But it's kind of like, let's see. So I had restless leg syndrome. I think I'll just have that. I don't need to risk death. Yeah, but it's really weird. Some of the stuff, it's like, oh, like allergies. It's like possible side effects, internal hemorrhaging, and you're like, what? Man says they're still waiting to see the warning. In case of death, contact your doctor. Just like that one newswoman who is out on the scene. This is from a few years back, where she was talking about the person who had been killed in the incident was unavailable for comment. It's like, geez, wonder why. Yes. W4 says, hey, why don't you go crazy and live stream your stress test? We'll chat about D&D and GURPS, see its effects on you. It won't have any effects on me. The thing that I really don't like is the laying under this machine, and it's like this close to your face. So it's not really just a regular old stress test where they would slap, all the sensors on you and just have you run on a treadmill, which would suck anyway. But no, there's more to it than that. That's why they tell you to allot 4 hours for the procedure. So that was one of the things I wanted to talk about. The other thing I wanted to talk about is, you may recall me talking about somebody who was a regular in chat who would be hanging out practically every show in chat. And they had made some donations and such to the channel. And they had a run-in with Cubicle 7 Games. And I reached out to one of my contacts there to see if, they could get on the same page. And then I told you how this person flipped out, saying, "Oh, I was trying to stall them so that their opportunity for a refund from Cubicle 7 Games would pass," and ridiculous nonsense. So, one thing I have not mentioned is that after that, they actually went to PayPal and they disputed a $200 donation they had made. So they put in this dispute, and they told PayPal that they had accidentally put $200 rather than $2. I want my $2. And they wanted their $198 back. So I had got a message, a notification from PayPal, and I said, "Oh, well, we've put a hold on $198 in your account." So anyway, so I see where they're claiming, "Oh yeah, they just meant to," and it even said they meant to only donate $2 for a bottle of soda. But, and you know what? I'm going to tell you who it was, because I think a couple of people out there thought it was Flaming Huron. It is not. Even though we haven't really seen Flaming Huron much. I think that's more work related. No, it was the person whose nickname was Gleam1 RX or Gleam1 R or Gleam1 X RX. I never did pronounce it right. And I always said Gleam1 RX. So anyway, they had made the $200 donation and then had sent me an email about how they had made the contribution and how they really enjoyed the channel and wanted to make sure that the gaming gang could continue. And it was like a few paragraphs long. And then I had responded. I said, "Hey, do you mind if I share this very generous contribution on the next live show?" Because there were a few folks who had made very generous donations. And they said, "Oh yeah, that's okay. Just use my nickname." Pete Strangleite says, "Is this about Sean O'Donnell?" So I sent that to PayPal, and I figured, okay, there is no way PayPal is going to return this $198 to me, because PayPal's pretty useless. That's why I don't sell anything on eBay anymore, because I had situations where I sold something, sent it, the person said it was damaged when they got it, and comic books is what it was. This is a few years back, quite a few years back. And then they sent back a like the envelope for the U.S. Postal Service priority mail envelope, the thick one, or not thick, but they're large. And all that was in it, I've told this story before, all that was in it was a comic book backing board with a smiley face going like this. And of course, PayPal did absolutely nothing. So anyway, so I was like, okay, well, here's the correspondence. And I wrote to PayPal saying, okay, first of all, if they had made a mistake with their donation amount, they wouldn't have waited a month to sit there and dispute it. I said, they would have done that right away. And I put down, I said, this this person, you can look into my account. So this person has made other donations as well. And they were never $2. They were quite a bit more than $2, but never 200 before. That was a first. So today I get notification back that PayPal sided with me. So they did return those funds. And within minutes, I got another claim from this ass clown, which was from a donation they made for me to purchase the Castles and Crusades Deluxe Starter Set. And it was a $35 donation. So now they're informing PayPal that they made a purchase from me and never received the item. So obviously this guy is just out there. So the thing is, it's not a dispute. It's just like I guess they call it a claim. So I was able to respond to it. So I responded by asking, hey, are you just going to continue harassing me? Is this how this works now? Because they made a $35 donation. I have their emails talking about what that donation is for. And I said, you know what? I'm more than happy to escalate this. And I will escalate this to PayPal and indicate, hey, you know what? They're trying to screw with you people again. Because, PayPal will only take so much nonsense from people. So, yeah, so they were saying that they sent me $35 and I was supposed to send them the Castles and Crusades Deluxe Starter Set, which is certainly not the case. It's not even out. And I had the emails from him saying, hey, I just made the donation for you to buy this. And then I followed up with a $35 donation so you could buy this. I'm like, so like I said to Elliot, I said, it's too bad you have to deal with people like that, because for the vast majority of people who hang out, visit the website, they watch the videos, things like that, they're cool. They're just regular gamers. And then we got the people that, sadly enough, our hobby attracts, who are out there. I also said to Elliot, I said, I'm not super keen on people who just, because they watch videos or they hang out and during the live streams, think that like they're close friends of mine or something like that. Sometimes there's a weird familiarity that I'll get from some people who hang out. And it's weird because you'll see where we'll have somebody new pop in and then they're like always in chat. They never miss a show and they start getting kind of odd in chat. Then all of a sudden they kind of disappear again. It's like, okay. Okay, Better with Bacon is with us. He's talking about me. I'm pretty out there. Philip Boardman is joining us tonight. Says, is he telling us that he kept the guy's $200? Tells me a lot about his character. I don't know what you're trying to say, Philip. If the person had said, hey, Jeff, could you send me my donation back? I would have been like, yeah, that's fine. But for somebody to go to PayPal and say that I cheated them? No, sorry. That is just not how it works. And I think Philip must have missed the episode we talked about the shenanigans this guy has pulled with Cubicle 7 Games. So, don't know. W4 says, you mean we're not close friends? Sob. Semper Buffo said, some people are just off their meds too soon. DB says, this is a whack story, Jeff. What the heck? People, what are they good for? Phillips says, that's true. I don't have all the information. Right. So, I mean, if you want to disparage my character, Philip, feel free. Probably won't be hanging out in chat very long, but, you know, fire away if you've got complaints about me. It's okay. So, anyway, so I wanted to let people know about that because it's like, not only did this guy just go completely off after I helped him with Cubicle 7, because it turns out he got the refund that he wanted. And I think he got to keep the books he ordered. But regardless, he got his refund that he was asking for, which he wouldn't have gotten if I hadn't reached out to my contact. And then now this guy just wants to, you know, harass me. It's like, no, thank you. Take a pass. All right. Anyway, so as I mentioned, we are going to dive on in and take a first look at a trio of Tales of Argosa adventures. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out for a delicious snack in our sparkling refreshment building. Every item a fresh, appetizing taste treat.
It's refreshment time, folks.
Taste that beats the others cold. Pepsi pours it on. Taste that beats the others cold. Pepsi pours it on.
Hey, Mr. Potato Head! What do you got for us?
3 new potato pals. Mr. Potato Bird, Mr. Potato Fish, and Mr. Potato Bug. That's a funny potato bug.
By putting the antenna on it.
That's a nice potato fish.
It's got a yellow tail.
I like your potato bird.
The wings are purple.
Let's see them.
Mr. Potato Bird. Mr. Potato Bug. Mr. Potato Fish.
Mr. Potato Head and his pals.
Steve Canyon to control tower, ready for takeoff. Hi, did I fool you? Well, no wonder. This is Ideal Steve Canyon jet helmet, exactly like Steve's. Made by Ideal for junior jet pilots everywhere. Great for zooming along on your bicycle. It's made of unbreakable Fortiflex. That's right, it'll fit any size head. Here's the official Air Force insignia right up here on top. Here's your sun visor, and here's your oxygen mask. And right inside the oxygen mask, built in, you'll find a speaker so that you'll sound just like Steve on his intercom. Now, if you'd like a jet helmet like Steve Canyon's, remember only Ideal makes it. Ask for the official Steve Canyon jet helmet, only $2.98.
Oh, heck, my flying saucer's out of atomic fuel.
I'm even worse off. I'm out of Wilkins coffee.
In a hidden fortress concealed by impenetrable jungle dwells Dr. Abbott Reeves, a brilliant but devious scientist with the power to create.
Help the mandroid from the cage, Takala.
Any malfunctions? I had some trouble with this. Feels like a delay in the neurosynapse trigger.
And the will to destroy.
Move its memory, then dismantle it.
It's half human.
He must be eliminated. Colonel Nora Hunter has the brains to mastermind the operation.
You need a full-time mechanic, my friend.
Fontana, the river rat.
What are you doing?
I saw this in a movie once.
When he finds himself in a tight spot, someone else has to pick up the pieces. Kuji, the ninja. He has the martial skills to destroy his enemies. The Mandroid. More machine than man. His special powers will determine whether or not they survive.
We got robots.
We got cavemen. We got kung fu. What is this, anyway? Some kind of damn comic book?
It is the most perilous journey any one of them has undertaken. And once they reach their destination, they face the most awesome power on Earth.
You don't understand. Soon I shall rule the world.
It will take all their combined skills to defeat him. Each one is the ultimate specialist in his field. Together, they are the Eliminators.
You're welcome for all of those nightmares that Mr. Potato Ted is going to be causing. Yep. So, funny enough, when we were kids, my brother always called it Mr. Potato Ted, not Mr. Potato Head. But yeah, that is some really creepy looking. And I'm curious how many of you out there recall that the original Mr. Potato Head, you used real potatoes, and the eyes and the mouth, they had little spikes that you would shove into the potato. Not the greatest idea for a kid's toy, eh? So let's see. Chris Lundgren has popped on into chat. Sorry to hear about your mom. I hope she gets better very soon. So let's see. I see that Stephen for Roll for Combat has popped in. Being a smart ass, I will just, like, you're still talking about this guy? I don't know, Stephen. Maybe if you were in chat a few minutes earlier, you would have known why. Pete Strakowicz says they backed the Tales of Argosa Shadow Dark adventures. They wish they had backed the hardcover that I reviewed. Yes, definitely thought that is excellent. So Chris says they're here to unstress. That's fine. You can have some of my stress. So Sarah D says, why not? Today's toy is tonight's dinner. Yeah, I see that. DB says, yeah, Mr. Potato Fish. Fish and chips in one little critter. Yeah. Just like they had the potato bug. I remember there was a bug that I don't know. I got to be honest. I don't think I've seen them in a while here in the Chicago area. I'm sure they're still floating around. But my mom always called it a potato bug. I was like, I don't know what they really are, but that's what she always called them, potato bugs. All right. So tonight we're going to dive on in and we're going to take a look at 3 adventure frameworks for Tales of Argosa from Pickpocket Press. So we're going to look at 3 of them. The first 2 are actually available absolutely free in PDF over at DriveThruRPG. You can pick each of these up as a soft cover for $9.95. Like I said, the first 2 we're going to take a peek at. The PDFs are absolutely free. I do notice that there's still a playtest version of Tales of Argosa that's floating around on DriveThruRPG. Also absolutely free. So if you are curious about it, because DB even asked, did Jeff review that? It's like, yes, I did. It's actually pulled in a decent number of viewers too. More than I was expecting, because it's, it's not from a major publisher. but still, really, really cool book. If you have not checked out my review, by all means, take a peek. Anyway, so we are going to start off with the Sky Tower of Belk softcover. And I do want to mention that the fine folks over at Pickpocket Press were kind enough to provide me with these 3 softcovers we're going to be taking a peek at. But neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share these first looks with you. It's important you know that. I'm not going to look at each and every page of these adventure frameworks either, but we are going to get a good feel for what's inside. Also, should point out that these are adventure frameworks. So if you happen to be watching and you are a player and your game master has picked up Tales of Argosa, or maybe they've already started running Tales of Argosa, then I would probably recommend tune out. Even though I know nothing about these, there's still going to be some spoilers as we flip on through. Chris Lundgren says, I like the cover art. This is the art style throughout the entire core rulebook. So if you like this art, then you will definitely dig the artwork in the core rulebook. And it looks like that's what we've got here in these adventure frameworks too. First thing we're going to do is take a peek at the credits page, because we've got quite a few different artists. Our author is Stephen Grzycki. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly or not. So we got the website and so on and so forth. So let's take a peek at the overview. Sky Tower of Belk is an adventure site you can place anywhere in high mountains, ideally in a place not easily accessed. What the hell? Why can't I read tonight? It's like, what the hell's wrong with me? Coco B has popped on in, said they threw a link to the review of Tales of Argosa on the Pickpocket Press Discord when it dropped. Nice. Thank you for that. So it's an adventure site you can place anywhere in high mountains, ideally in a place not easily accessed by common folk unwilling to brave the wilds to reach it. In summary, the tower is an initially static dungeon which awakens as the party begins to explore. Whilst rumors suggest the tower belonged to Belk, a sorcerer of the Second Age. Okay, here comes a huge spoiler. Truth is, the Citadel is a damaged starship carrying aliens from another planet. The ship is malfunctioning and only 2 Verg remain alive. Both are in stasis when the adventure begins. As the party explores the tower, they will have to deal with monsters that have moved in. Belk ghost, the ship's defenses, and perhaps the Zerg themselves. Man, is that coming off as some seriously cool old school stuff, because Tales of Argosa is an old school Renaissance sort of fantasy role-playing game. It's essentially, it's the second edition of low fantasy gaming. It's got mainly a sword and sorcery vibe to it. So looks like we've got some rumors. We've got the mountain trek, the outside of the tower itself. Here we got our maps. I think it looked like, weren't these maps Dyson logos? Yeah, the cartography is Dyson logos. That's cool. So we get a little side view. And then we actually get our room formats. So we have the key locations on the map we were just taking a look at. So we have an eye icon that relates to lighting. The musical note relates to sounds. A paw icon relates to tracks. A hand icon relates to touch sensations. And a little odor icon relates to, well, you guessed it, odors. So it appears that we've got bullet points. So just as an example, the captured pods, lighting is daylight and whistling winds. Several small floating islands surround the tower at a distance of 10 to 20 feet, fixed in place. The top of each island has a swirling, opaque distortion to it. Each captured pod contains a creature locked in stasis beneath the distortion field. Only light and shadow is visible below, unmoving. The creatures are female Thule, named Garja of the Stone Eyes tribe, giant toad, an elf from the Second Age, deceased, with one item from the Valuables B table, 1d6 winged snakes, 3d10 sturges, a roper, and an ogre mage with one eye. Pete Strakolich is asking, has anyone run Tales of Argosa? I gotta say, one of the cool things, because remember we were doing the let's build a fantasy role-playing game. There are a lot of aspects of Tales of Argosa which are almost exactly what I was talking about. So it's kind of like, wow. You know, doing the roll under for your attributes as far as your action resolution, well, equal to or under. Whereas the design we were talking about would just be under. But yeah, I was like, holy cow, it was blowing my mind. So I have not run it, but I have been kicking around, maybe running a couple of one-shots for it. It's like I'm always looking at running Castles and Crusades for the gang. But once again, it's just so difficult to get everybody together. Now my nephew is gone for like 5 weeks. And then, of course, it's difficult to get Elliot in. And yeah, it's just weird. So that is the capture pods. We've got a sturge nest, viewing screens. I like how we've got some color-coded directions. And then it looks like our enemies or possible enemies, creatures are in red. The loot is in blue. So all in all, we have 14 pages of adventure location. And then we got some pre-generated characters. So we have Shima of Northgate. Shima's natural magnetism often lands her in leadership roles she doesn't want. She's also a bit of an alcoholic, brave to a fault. That's cool. I like that. Then we've got One-Eye Bennett, Veldra of Port Brax. Shima is a bard, a fighter, a rogue, and a magic user. Benzagor found his spellbook in a ruin and is a self-taught sorcerer. The cosmic truths he's uncovered made him a poppy milk addict. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, question was, how about the paper quality, like thickness? Nice. It's actually very nice. Yeah. The paper thickness is very similar to the thickness of the core rulebook, actually. And I do understand that I got one of I think it's an offset print. So yes, I got the nicer book. I think all you can get now are, well, not that that's a bad thing. I think they're print on demand from Drive-Thru RPG. Okay, so this is Caverns of Shennog. Christy is with us in chat. Welcome aboard. Dice Tales has popped in. Says Ogre Magi are one of their very favorite monsters. Nice. Now, I did not see anything indicating a level for that, but the pre-gens were levels 3 and 4. Isn't that what I saw? Maybe it's level 4. Yep, level 4. To give you an idea of what level that adventure site might be best suited for. Diesel Shot is also popping on in. Said, pretty layout. Yeah, these are laid out pretty nicely. Similar in some respects to Old School Essentials releases from Necrotic Gnome. Although, from what I'm seeing here, this has a little more visual pop, at least in my opinion. Caverns of Shennog is an adventure site you can place anywhere in forest terrain, someplace not easily accessed by common folk unwilling to brave the wilds to reach it. Sort of like the mountains the tower was in. In summary, the cave complex is a series of natural caverns that conceal 2 hidden shrines to the goddess Shennog, built during the Second Age as bolt holes for priests to evade the Scorn Horde, but forgotten in later centuries. The complex is cut through with multiple streams and pools, one of which now houses a gigantic apparition known as a Lashery. The monster is worshipped by a small tribe of Nagora, Cyclop mutants, and their high priest, Yazrak. Yazrak is, in fact, a human sorcerer, albeit one horribly twisted by long dealings with the Veil. He's obsessed with resurrecting his dead wives, actually a delusion, as he never had any wives. Oh, I love that whole extra detail there. And mistakenly believes that the Lashery requires just a few more sacrifices to grant him the power he needs. As the player characters search the complex for lost relics, they might face these and other dangers of the caverns. So we've got our rumors, we've got some research. I think we probably have some of the same credits once again. Let's make sure I share those with you. So we've got some encounters as far as the forest trek. Then we got our caverns here. So that is a player's map. There is the Game Master's map. For a second, I was like, wait a second. It's not keyed? It's like, oh, maybe you throw stuff in where you want it. Robert Stanton says, it looks great. Yeah, these do look really good. I will do my best to get a review of the first one of these out next week. Because as I mentioned, I'm not going to do shows next week. So I will be on a bit of a hiatus, I guess. Mainly because of that stupid stress test and the rest of the crap I have to go through on Tuesday. So we've got our room formats again. So the flame now indicates our lighting. Before it was an eyeball. Music note, the paw, the hand, and the little odors. So our interior, otherwise noted, is going to be pitch black with running streams, dripping, rocks crunching underfoot. Those are some of the sounds you'll get. Temperature is mild, damp air and smells of damp earth. Got some cavern events. We've got our random loot table. And then we get our locations. So as an example here, we've got the Nagoro nest, several mud cots and humanoid figures. Nagora albino, 7 feet tall, single eye, elongated limbs, tentacle hair, occupy this chamber lit by low burning candles. There's 1d4 of them. The mud cots contain long soiled rags from past victims and bracken gathered from the forest at night. One random loot item can be found there. Nagora are an ancient and highly devolved form of cyclopses. 7 feet tall albinos with elongated limbs, emaciated bodies, and tentacle hair. See cover pic. Dun, dun, dun. Forever cursed to shun sun and sky, they dwell in tunnels and caverns, inherently drawn to unholy sights and creatures. Most communicate in clicks and grunts, but some are known to utter stilted words. Their single eye sees better than men in the dark, but they require light sources to navigate their subterranean homes. Nagora are strict carnivores, savoring the freshly plucked eyes of their prey. That's good eating. Especially humans, whom they blame for their downfall in the Second Age. These are cool. I mean, these really are. Now it looks like we've got little inserts from parts of the map. Now that's straight out of the Old School Essentials adventures, which I happen to like. I like how they'll actually take some, just a portion of the map and put that where those key locations are. So you're not constantly flipping back and forth to the big map. So this adventure locale is a little bit longer than the first. This is 17 pages. And we have new pre-generated characters. Kornak the Intoxicated. Kornak is a rebellious wanderer, overly fond of drink, another alcoholic. He has a birthmark on his face, easily identifiable without his helmet. That is our barbarian. We've got old Falco, who's a monk. Eric of Graxus is a cultist, which is the cleric in Tales of Argosa, or like shaman kind of thing. Kale of the Red Plains is a ranger. Kale roams the plains and city surrounds with his wolf companion. He is fond of gambling and lost an eye to scorn raiders when a child. A lot of people without eyes in this. Relighter Gamer has joined us. Now we get a character cheat sheet, which essentially is going to give you all of the rules for the player that they need to know. That's nice. That is very, very cool. Right. So before we take a look at the third adventure locale, once again, let me point out, these are absolutely free in PDF over at Drive-Thru RPG. So granted, we're taking a look at these soft covers, which you can get for $9.95, also from Drive-Thru RPG. But if you just want the PDFs, absolutely free. Just wanted to make sure you were aware of that, again, because we've had a few people pop on in to chat since I mentioned that. So let's see. Pete Strakowitz says, nice pre-gens. Pete Strakowitz says, I actually redraw the map on an index card so I can have it with me for every page. Oh, cool. That's nice. Chris Lundgren asks, how compatible with other OSR systems is it as well? Well, you got to keep in mind that the action resolution is rolling the attribute equal to it or lower. So this is not the traditional like D20 sort of action resolution. But as far as a lot of other stuff, should be pretty easy. Should be pretty easy. Now, with Tales of Argosa, there are like only 9 levels. So your top level is level 9, and there isn't a lot of HP bloat. So even your 9th level fighters probably going to have 30-ish, 35-ish hit points, so nothing too crazy. So also very old school in its approach to combat. Combat is lethal. Combat should be fast. You shouldn't be sitting there with 3-hour combat encounters like some stuff. Chris Lundgren's asking, is the rulebook free or priced? It is priced, but as I had mentioned, at least I saw this on Drive-Thru RPG. I assume that it was correct. There is still a playtest version of the rules, version 3 of the playtest rules. It is a free download. Now, does that mean there's any artwork in it? I don't know. It may not have the same sort of attention to layout and things like that, because keep in mind, playtest. But then again, we were just looking at free adventure locales. So pretty nicely done with that too. Yeah, I'm really impressed by everything that I have seen as far as the everything that I've seen from Pickpocket Press to this point. So it looks like if you download the PDFs, shows right here. Looks like it's probably a link in the PDF for the free playtest document, the free online deck of signs. That was one thing that Pickpocket Press wanted to get out to me, was a deck of signs. I guess they were out of stock. So, and consult the Bones dice, which are, I think I still have them floating around over here. Yep. The Oracle dice for playing solitaire or GM-less, because there are rules for that as well. So I share looks at these in the review. All right, so now we're taking a peek at Crypt of Kursaba. Of course, I was joking the other night that it was a Polish sausage. The Crypt of Kielbasa. Robert Santon says, is this in the description of the stream? They would like to buy it. I do have a link in the show notes. If you take a look at the show notes, there will be a link for, it's actually for all things Tales of Argosa at Drive-Thru RPG, because that's where you would buy the physical books. You'd also get the physical core rule book is through Drive-Thru RPG. So yes, I do have that, and it does have my affiliate number associated with it. So if you are going to make a purchase, try to use that link, because that way I get 5% of that sale. Okay, so Crypt of Kursaba is an adventure site you can place anywhere in a mountain or hill terrain, ideally in an isolated area not easily reached by traders or other explorers. Now, as far as the Caverns of Shennog that we were just looking at, looked like that was 3rd level characters. Chris Lundgren's asking, does it use an alignment system of some sort? I gotta be honest, I don't seem to recall it did. Sadly, that's not something that's jumping out. I know some people are like, Jeff, how could you not remember? It's like, I don't know, because I've read like 5 rule books since. Okay. In the Second Age, the Ramarans, a human culture, slavers who buried their dead in ornate underground tombs, constructed a crypt in the mountain to bury important priests and attendants in preparation for the afterlife. This particular tomb was dedicated to an entity known as Kursaba the Crow-Faced, a minor deity under Belk, the god of the dead, said to carry/escort the deceased across the veil. The complex was sealed with dark rituals and forgotten over time. In recent months, a powerful landslide has opened a new entrance to the crypt, breaching the necromantic ward that had previously protected it. A pack of nocturnal ghouls have taken up residence, feeding on tomb corpses and passing barbarians. The ghouls occupy the first 2 levels of the tomb, but dare not enter the 3rd level, which houses several powerful undead and a Zogoth demon. While the tomb contains many dangers, it also holds various Remoran treasures, not the least of which is the enchanted Spear of Kursaba. So we got our rumors again, our research. So yeah, let's take a look at the credits again. I always like to make sure that I share credits. There we go, right here. Give some credit where credit is due. We got some mountain encounters for our travels to this locale. Whoa, looks like this is going to be our most in-depth location. Probably why it's $4.99 in PDF. It's still $9.95 if you want to just get the regular print. I think it's $4.99. It might be $4.95. Coco B says no alignment system. Yeah, that's why that's why it wasn't jumping out. If there was, even like a Dungeon Crawl Classics, or even like really old school, lawful, chaotic, neutral. I didn't remember that. Coco B says if you got questions, go over to their Discord. The author's on there a lot, and he's super nice guy. Yes, the author Steven seems very, very nice. Over in Australia, I do believe. So here we've got our room format again. We've got, once again, it's a flame. It's not an eyeball. So we got our crypt events for first and second level, and then the third level, our crypt loot. So we have ghoul loot and Remoran loot. So we have two D8 tables there. Ooh, very nice. Ooh, what is that? A two-headed ghoul? All right. So as an example, we've got the master ghoul. It's pitch black. You hear grinding teeth and clawed footprints. A two-headed humanoid, Gris and Yesham, 8 feet tall, hairless, emaciated, elongated teeth and claws. Broken cots and cupboards occupy this room. Gris and Yeshim are the ghouls' trance states. They are decades old, birthed from the burial mound of twin boys. They often speak in unison, but also argue frequently when alone, not in front of the other ghouls. Lesser ghouls obey the masters out of fear and a grudging appreciation of their cruelty. The duo have no real machinations other than wanting to keep the corpses coming. The pair are sadistic. They may allow the party to leave the tomb if they sacrifice one of their own, or perhaps an arm or leg, to the pack. The broken cots and cupboards will provide 1 tomb loot and 1 valuables A, and the key to the scorned manacles. One of the prisoners, no doubt. The worship hall. Hall of Bones. Sharing a peek at that artwork there because I was kind of blocking that out. Relighter Gamer says, twice the heads, twice the hunger. It's two ghouls in one. Chris asks, so is the rules Low Fantasy Gaming? Is it by Stephen J. Grzycki? It is actually Tales of Argosa, which is, in essence, the second edition of Low Fantasy Gaming. But it is called Tales of Argosa. So give me a second here so we can wrap this up. Looks like this is for level 3. And we've got some more pre-gens. So we've got Nissa of Northgate. Didn't we have a Nissa of Northgate, or was her name different? So she is a human, a prisoner. We have Jinx, who's a rogue. So Nissa's a fighter. Nevercheck the Golden. Ugh, the magic user. We have Lucius the Wanderer, who is our bard. And then we got our player cheat sheet again. Just like so. As far as the adventure went, what do we have? About 20 pages? Close. We had 19. We had 19 pages there. These look really good. These look very, very cool. I have got to say. So that was Crypt of Kursaba. That's why you see an Argosa adventure. It is for Tales of Argosa. We had Caverns of Shennog and Sky Tower of Belk. So yes, these look really, really cool. I'm going to take a guess. We are probably going to see a few people go and grab those free PDFs after they're done watching this. Very, very nice. Once again, big thank you to Pickpocket Press for sending these my way. Now, right down here, that is Tales of Argosa. That is the core rule book, which I have reviewed. If you have not checked out the review, by all means, take a peek. It gets the rarefied 10 out of 10, if I remember correctly. I'm pretty sure it's a 10 out of 10. So yes. So Free Lighter Gamer says, free! Chris Leonard says they've got that rule book. It was a gift. So I would take a guess that Low Fantasy Gaming is very similar in its approach. Pete Strykovich says, yes, it's a 10. I thought so. I thought it was because I really liked it a ton. We've been lucking out recently. We really have. A lot of the stuff I've been sharing reviews of have all been 8.5, 9, 9.5. Once again, a 10. You don't see a lot of 10s from the gaming gang. It's not impossible to get, obviously enough, but it is relatively rare to see something get a 10. And yeah, it is that good. I think part of it is because so much of its mindset is very similar to my approach. I was like, wow, this fits like a glove. I was like, nice. I mean, as far as, old school fantasy role-playing games go. So very nice. Very nice. Okay. That is it for this time out. If you were watching live, thank you very much. If you watched live and took part in chat, a bigger thank you, because not only are you keeping me company, but also keeping each other company while I'm sharing the news or flipping through adventures and such. But I know a lot of folks out there, you don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. Really do appreciate all of you taking time out to watch any of the over 2,100 videos here on the Gaming Gang channel. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you will not find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. So I am going to be doing some reviews, even though I will not be streaming live next week. If something changes, I will make it very well known on social media and the Discord. If maybe I'm going to do shows on Wednesday and Thursday, at this point in time, I don't think I will be, but that does not mean I'm not going to be sharing videos. So keep that in mind, right? Because I plan on getting some Free League Publishing reviews out there, including the One Ring, Realms of the Three Rings from Free League Publishing. So this is not out in stores yet. I want to say April 22nd. So I am going to have my review out there ahead of it. I do have to double check with Free League to make sure that there is no embargo on it. I don't think there is. I do not think there is. So there is that. All right. If you like the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, be sure to ring that bell, because it'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. I'll also let you know when I share other videos, such as my recent review of the Reforged edition of the Player's Handbook for Castles and Crusades. Of course, big thank you to our sponsors for the past month or so, Roll for Combat and their Battlezoo Ancestries Living Legends Kickstarter. It is wrapping up. It is your last chance to get on board. All right, everybody, enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day is in your neck of the woods. Enjoy the rest of your week. Have a great weekend. Enjoy next week. Like I said, probably not streaming next week. But of course, thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Jeff McAleer, and as always, I certainly hope every one of you gets to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.